Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy burstzgyt back here, and we're back for another Monday of some interesting news. Now, about 10, 11 hours ago, we got some interesting information regarding Square Enix selling their Western studios, Eidos and Crystal Dynamics, to the Embracer Group for $300 million. Now, this was pretty random, right? We, in pertaining to this video specifically for Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy for Eidos and, Avengers for Crystal, we've been wondering specifically, like, how is Avengers' future looking, right? And pertaining just for this information today, this potentially could be explaining why we haven't gotten a roadmap, why they couldn't exactly tell us what's going on in the future, because maybe they knew this information to a degree that some things were going to be potentially shifting in the future. And we're kind of sitting in the gray here with this information, because if I, go through this Paul Tassi article, they're talking about how they do need, external approvals from, in this case, I guess it would be Marvel, to be able to get those licenses to work on, right? It's not just, we don't know if that's necessarily part of the deal that they have with Square Enix, that it's automatically just going to transfer over or not. But this deal is also not closed. It's currently in progress, and all this news is breaking out. So we're definitely still not going to be entirely sure. But I do think still, in pertaining to Avengers at least, that patch 2.4 and 2.5 still looking like a possibility. I think that they wouldn't have announced that content at all if they couldn't be sure that they were going to be able to even do it. But beyond that is where we may see a little bit of a shift. The game may not last. It may not, but it also may have a possibility, depending on what that closure of the deal looks like, whether they get the opportunity to keep working with the IPs or not, right? We're not entirely sure. But I do want to show this clip because this is from their stream earlier today, and kind of asking the question of, what's going on with those Marvel IPs. So here we'll take a quick listen to it, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on.
Starting with some questions for Lars, just to get them done. I have to ask. First of all, just want to ask about the two recently released Marvel licensed games, Marvel's Avengers and Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy. Are they included in the transaction? I assume not.
Well, yes, all games that has been developed by the studios are included in the transaction. However, a number of external approvals are needed from external parties in order to close this transaction. And potentially licensors, as you mentioned here, could be one of those approvals needed.
Okay, and just to understand that correctly, if that would be approved, I mean, is that the base case, that it is approved and that they are part of the deal and that you can develop games based on these IPs ahead?
I don't expect any notable commercial agreement relating to the studios or this transaction to be declined by either regulatory parties or business partners. However, that remains to be seen, obviously. I think your question was relating to the two existing games and whether they will be still operated and built upon and changed from the existing plans today going forward. And I think that is the color I can give you on this, Oscar.
Okay, thank
you. So there you have it. There's the clip. And at first glance, like watching this, he seems kind of unsure about these particular like two games that are currently running and how they may, have a future or not. We're not entirely sure, like, would they be able to do, for example, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And I definitely think that, Eidos deserves to be able to do that in the future because the game was phenomenal. and it did get a lot of positive feedback, a lot of positive reviews. So I think, they should. Marvel's Avengers is also one of those things where it's like, does this potentially also mean that it could have a long-term future going forward, because they would potentially get a lot more support. They would have probably a little bit more leniency because, Square Enix is really like keeps these dudes under their thumb, like, and at the same time really throws them under the bus a lot. They're not the best publisher, and I'm sure a lot of people have started to realize that over the last year, especially, that they treat their Western games like shit, right? They really only care about their big bang bucks with Final Fantasy and shit, right? That's pretty much all you see them really like expanding upon and really embracing. Everything else always falls short. Even if the games do relatively well, they always seem to shit on them. And I think that this change going forward will be better. Even if Avengers or Guardians of the Galaxy didn't get some kind of continuation, I think that this relationship here and seeing these developers now under Embracer Group hopefully will, put those developers in a better spotlight in the future. Because I definitely think that they, especially for Crystal Dynamics, they've faced a lot of backlash these last couple of years. And I definitely think they need to be put in a more positive spotlight. And Square Enix just isn't that at all. They have trashed them basically by throwing them under the bus and shit. And it's unacceptable to a high degree. So I am optimistic for the future. I hope a lot of people are. But if the game ends, the game ends. It's been a long ride, a good ride. But if it gets some kind of continuation, some kind of support going forward, I think that the future looks a little bit more grand, a lot more better, grass greener on the other side. I would hope that they get the freedom that they, deserve, so we can actually see the game be 10 times more successful, because it definitely, there's potential for it, maximum potential for it. And all we need is for them to give it a chance. And I'm hoping that, the third parties, whatever, the other external parties that are a part of this, that are needing to make these decisions on what can happen, I hope that they make the right decision. But yeah, that's all I have to say so far. There's probably still new breaking details, and we'll have to see how this progresses over the next, month or two. We don't really know when this deal is going to close. We're going to have to wait for that, but I definitely still expect patch 2.4 and patch 2.5 to drop for Marvel's Avengers, officially at least. But yeah, that's all I have so far. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about, definitely link it below. Talk about it in the comments. At me on Twitter. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do going forward for this. But anyways, I will catch you guys later. Hope you have a good day. And yeah, see you later. Peace.